Now we're going to work on the login page. So pretty much what we have already done in register, it's going to be quite similar. Here we have only one input field for email, but we're going to have email as well as password to complete the login here in the login page. And later we're going to add login with Google as well. So that means we can pretty much copy the code from our register page. So let's go to register. And I have changed the theme of my editor as well. Hopefully you find it easier than the previous one, because I think it's a bit more sharp. So it should be better than the one before. All right, so let's go to register. In fact, we are here. Let me actually add a bit of a space here and maybe put a placeholder so that the user knows what to do, right? Otherwise can be a bit confusing here. So here in the register input, let's add placeholder. Let's say your email, and here we can have a bit of a break as well. And here let's add a line break. All right. And you must have noticed I have opened a different terminal here instead of using the inbuilt terminal of the VS Code, just to make things clear for you. But obviously you can continue using the VS Code editors, a built-in terminal. I've just decided to use separate one. Okay, so that looks better. We have a bit of a space, we have the placeholder. Now let's copy this code and put in the login page so that we can continue building up our login page. So here, let's copy everything from a register. Let's go to login and let me replace that with everything here. Okay, let's change the name. Default, that's login. Let's go on top. Let's change this to login. All right, so here not only email, we will be grabbing the user password as well. So let's add password in our state as well, right? Just like that. Password, and that's set password. Okay, and handle submit, we will we'll come back to it. We can just get rid of everything. Okay, register form, let's call it login form. Login form, and here we're going to have one input for email, another one for password. So let's copy that input, paste here. Let's change this type to password. Value is going to be password. On change, set password. Placeholder, your password. Let's get rid of the autofocus. Here, let's change the button name to login. Okay, so we got this login form as well. Now let's execute that here. Instead of register form, login form, change the title to login. Okay, so that looks good, but I think we have to do a bit more work on the styling here. To make this input form looks a bit better because it's congested, we can put it inside a div. So you can cut that out. Just cut, create a div with class name of form group, and inside here paste that input field. So div with the class name of form group, and then we have the input with the class name of form control. All right, so we can do the same here. Cut div with class name of form group and paste here. Okay, so that looks better. So we got email and password. We can give it a try using this handle submit function. So handle submit, we have to make a request to Firebase, but before we do anything like that, let me just console log. Let's try console table, email and password, just so that we know what we are submitting to Firebase. Okay, so let me type ryan@gmail.com, some password. Let's open login. Let's try login. You can see we get the email and password. So that's perfect. We need to send this information to Firebase so that we can log the user in. Before I work on this handle submit, let me actually use a ant design button instead of this button, because that will look much better. Let me show you the finished one. The finished project. What's the name? That is Clouds Bay. Okay, I have this Chrome extension that gives me this dark night view, which is good for eyes, but yeah, of course, let's turn it off. Let's go to login, and you can see we have this beautiful button here. You can see that button looks pretty cool. Okay, so we can use this button. This is from Ant Design. So you can go to Ant Design, search for button. Alright, so they don't have here. So this is, sometimes this is a little bit confusing. Let's go to components. Let's go to button here. Okay, so the one that I used is this one. Anyways, let me show you. Let me go to my editor here, and let's go on top and import first from Ant button from Ant Design, and we also need to bring in the icon as well. So just like we did, let's go to register. Let's go to register complete. Have we import? We haven't import, unfortunately. Let's go to headers. Okay, let's copy that. Let's close. Let's close. Let's close. So right here, we need to import the icon by the name of mail outlined. Mail outlined from the icons. All right, so we can use that icon in the button. So once we have that import, let's come down here and let's get rid of this button. Instead, let's use the Ant Design button. So button, we're going to call it login with email password. All right, so here we can use on-click event handler. We can give the class name and so on. Okay, let's have a bit of a break here. So on click, when the button is clicked, we want to execute handle submit. It's the button type that's submit. Class name, I'm just going to use a Bootstrap class name to have a bit of a margin bottom, because later we're going to have another button similar to this one, and that will be for login with Google. So a bit of a margin in the bottom. So the type is already here. Because this is an Ant Design component, we don't need to actually use this type submit. Instead, we can use the color type, and that is primary. We can use the color type like so. All right, so that's done. And this button, we want to stretch it all the way. You can see we want this button to stretch the entire available space. For that, we can use block. All right, then another one is shape. We can also give the shape, for example, round. We want round shape button. So they have a couple of options here. You can see they have some of them round, some of them circle. You can even have a look at the example code. Okay, you can see some of them are circle, some of them are round, and so on. Okay, so that's shape. Next one we can use icon. So the icon we're going to use, icon that is going to be mail outlined. So icon, and then we can also use the size to define with what size of button, small, medium, large. We want to use large. Alright, and then we don't want to we want to disable this button if user haven't entered the email and password. So we can do a bit of a validation easily here. Disabled, okay, so disabled will be true if no email or password is less than 6 characters. Password dot length is smaller than 6. So if these statements are true, if there is no email or password is less than 6, button will be disabled. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, you can see it's a pretty good looking button. Now we can try, as long as until you have 6 characters, you can see the button is still disabled. Once you have 6 characters, you can see button is there and you can click on it. Okay, perfect. Now we have this beautiful form. Let's continue with the next lecture. We're going to implement the core feature here, that is to make requests to Firebase so that we can log the user in, update the user password, because previously this user haven't entered any password. So we're going to have the user with email and password. From now on, anytime user can log in with email and password. All right, let's continue.